Welcome back to Project 82, the SCP Remote Access Database. Which case file do you require?
Item number SCP-322. Object Class Safe. SCP-322 is to be contained in a secure locker in Storage Unit 3. SCP-322 can be utilized for certain missions or for research, but a full-length proposal must be submitted and accepted. SCP-322 is a cardboard box, 60 cm or 24 inches in width, 30 cm or 12 inches in height, and 15 cm, 6 inches in depth, with the words, "Grow Your Own Castle Kit," and a stylized cartoon similar to those in circulation in the 1950s. The box contains a small, very simple pamphlet and a glass jar filled with large grains of sand. The pamphlet states a simple set of instructions that, when followed correctly, will produce a large castle. An exact transcript of the manual is as follows. Hey there, kiddo! So you want your own castle, but you don't want to waste your time imagining one? Then this is the kit for you! All you have to do is plant one of the specially made castle seeds, somewhere where there's a lot of free space, such as a field under 3 feet of dirt. Having trouble digging that all by yourself, son? Then convince an adult to help by promising him vassalage over some of your soon-to-be kingdom. The next step is just as easy, but just as important. All you have to do is make sure you water your castle every day at 12 o'clock for 7 days. That's a week. And make sure you do it too, otherwise it won't work and then you're back at square one. Make sure you follow all the steps and you should have your very own castle in just 7 days. Pretty nifty, huh, sport? When these directions are followed, the result is a large stone fortress including an inner keep, a courtyard, and an outer wall, in the location that the seeds were planted. Placing more than one seed increases the size of the castle twofold per extra seed planted, and the styles, Romanesque, Baroque, Gothic, Kremlin, Shiro, et al., depend on the color of the seed that had been planted. On rare occasions when a castle has formed, there is already a staff of servants within utterly dedicated to the original planter, although they are often inhuman in appearance. Footnote 1. Additional notes. The object was found in Orlando, Florida in in the hands of someone trying to turn it into an amusement park. The item was confiscated and the person in question had their memory purged. Footnote 1. While no conclusive link between the two has been discovered, SCP-2448 is notably similar in that it is a castle that occasionally manifests humanoid denizens.
Case file ends. Which case file do you require?
Item number SCP-330. Object Class Safe. Considering recent incidents, SCP-330 is to be kept in secure storage until further notice. Level 2 clearance is required for access to SCP-330 or its contents. All direct experimentation of SCP-330 is to be conducted using Class D personnel with no genetic history of diabetes. No more than 2 samples are to be removed from SCP-330 at any time, except during exposure testing. SCP-330 appears to be a small, round, stainless steel bowl filled with a variable amount of individually wrapped pieces of candy. Taped to the side of the bowl is a handwritten note reading, "Take no more than 2, please." Attempts to remove the note have met with failure, as have attempts to hide or obscure it. Testers have noted finding it impossible to avoid reading the note, and those who approach it from an opposite angle are aware of this request. When a quantity of candy greater than 2 pieces is removed, regardless of the means involved, the offender instantly has both hands severed at the wrists by an unknown method. Tests involving remote manipulation by Class D personnel resulted in the operator's hands being removed despite no direct contact. Inspection of the incision reveals that the cut is made at a molecular level, leaving no tool marks or identifying factors. It is to be noted that the third piece must be removed within a certain time frame. After 24 hours, the count resets and the additional candy can be removed. Discovered 3 days after Halloween of 20, when a police investigation into what was believed to be a case of ritualistic dismemberment was launched. SCP-330 was seized as evidence, but all attending officers were killed after Officer emptied the bowl of its contents. The cause of death was a result of Foundation agents, under the guise of federal agents, recovered the object with acceptable casualties. Addendum. Due to continuing security issues, SCP-330 will be held in Dr. Kondraki's office when not required for testing. Experiment. Conducted by researcher Vogt. Date 2000. Subject D330-01, a double amputee equipped with prosthetic forearms and hands, was told to remove 3 pieces of candy from the bowl. Subject complied with no immediate effects. However, within 45 seconds, subject reported a burning itch from both of his arm stumps. Right arm 2 cm below elbow, left arm 1.5 cm below elbow, and phantom pains from both his absent wrists. Subject's distress at this discomfort increased rapidly. Within 180 seconds of having removed the 3rd candy from the bowl, the subject began forcibly removing both his own prostheses. Upon hurling the prostheses to the ground, the subject reported that the discomfort had ceased. Dermatological examination of the subject's stumps revealed no unusual irritation or inflammation. Mechanical examination of the subject's prosthesis revealed that, in addition to the physical damage sustained by being hurled to the ground, the prostheses had. Subject was supplied with fresh prostheses identical to the first pair, but reported feeling that it was wrong to put them on. Coercion was applied, and the subject reluctantly put on left prosthesis. Note: subject is right-handed. However, when told to put on right prosthesis, subject began weeping incoherently and flailing his arms until the left prosthesis detached itself. Analysis of video footage revealed that subject had not properly attached the left prosthesis to his stump. Mechanical examination of left prosthesis revealed only physical damage sustained from being thrown across the room. 24 hours later, subject was given fresh prostheses and reported no difficulty in putting them on. Subject not terminated, as D-class amputees who were already used to their prostheses are in short supply.
Case file ends. Which case file do you require?
Item number SCP-334. Subject class Euclid. SCP-334 is to be kept in a standard heat-treated containment cell, surrounded by magnetic field generators positioned so that all 6 sides have an overlapping field projecting at least 15 cm from the inner cell walls. Each generator is to have multiple redundant backups and power sources, including emergency batteries capable of maintaining full magnetic field output for no less than 30 seconds. Maintenance of the anti-heat coating is to be carried on a weekly schedule, with subject to be transferred to a secondary cell to allow for more extensive repairs if needed. 3 live mice are to be introduced to it at a random time every day to reduce chances of subject learning the pattern and attempting escape. Due to SCP-334's hunting and burrowing instincts, the floor of containment is to be reinforced with an anti-heat coating or made of a substance with a melting point greater than degrees Celsius, with the magnetic containment field underneath reinforced to approximately 1.5 times that of the other surfaces. Subject hunts in a fashion typical of foxes, with a strong downward pounce, which has been proven capable of penetrating a small distance into the containment fields and has been the cause of containment breaches to date. SCP-334 is a small cloud of superheated plasma in the shape of a specimen most closely resembling Vulpes vulpes, or the common red fox. Its body appears similar to waves of steam or fire, revealing gaps between the filaments of gas through which the opposite side is visible. Its filaments fluoresce in the spectrum of red and orange, with eyes in the blue spectrum. Subject has a negligible measurable mass and has no central body to speak of. SCP-334 apparently believes it is actually a red fox and displays several normal vulpine behaviors, such as hunting of prey, and in Test 334-F-03, Whether it is an entity that imprinted on a Volpine, or is a Volpine which transformed into its current state, is unknown and under investigation. Since it is composed of superheated ionized gas, containment of SCP-3034 is effectively impossible without the use of magnetic containment fields, and is difficult even then, as the heat and energetic effects extend to an average of 7 cm around its entire body, rapidly sublimating physical abstractions. Although its surface temperature is in excess of degrees Celsius, the heat disperses rapidly, cooling to degrees Celsius within 10 centimeters, far faster than the laws of thermodynamics would indicate. There is evidence that SCP-3034 is capable of controlling its heat output. Subject is capable of bursts of speed measured at approximately 160 km per hour for around 10 seconds. These bursts of speed disperse the subject's mass, tiring it out, making it need to rest while it reforms. Subject derives nourishment from converting matter into plasma and absorbing it, taking in a small amount of energy normally through conversion of air into ionized gas, but that alone is insufficient to feed it, making supplementary feeding necessary. Despite the fact it does not touch the ground when it walks, and is immune to the pull of the Earth's gravity, it seems content to follow the floor's surface for walkable areas, and has yet to be seen actually flying. Whether it chooses not to, or simply does not know that it can, is unknown at this time. Due to its physical makeup, SCP-3034 constantly emits a level of EM radiation consistent with a class solar flare, causing interference in unshielded electronics within meters and making film or electronic surveillance problematic. Radiation is within tolerable limits for SCP personnel. Initial containment. SCP-3034 was recovered kilometers from projected meteor impact site. Whether this was the subject's origin is still under investigation. The Foundation was alerted to the subject's existence when a routine sweep of emergency services reports found a pattern of strange burns, trails, and discovered in the woods, matching no publicly known source but consistent with. A full Foundation combat team was sent in to contain the suspected, but found SCP-3034 instead a far lesser threat. Utilizing a magnetic containment bottle and 2 live mice, subject was contained with an acceptable level of casualties. Addendum: SCP-3034 has a talent for escape, having escaped containment no fewer than times since initial retrieval, causing approximately $, in structural damage to site, and the deaths of personnel, mostly caused by the aforementioned structural damage. SCP-3034 is wary of people, avoiding human contact if possible, yet prefers hiding in offices, barracks, and on-site quarters where there is relatively little traffic and an abundance of small spaces. Despite its many escape events, SCP-3034 has shown neither an obvious inclination towards leaving site nor towards unprovoked attack, and is not considered a direct threat. However, the structural damage caused had the potential to release SCP, and SCP on separate occasions, and a recapture should be considered a priority. Partial testing log. Results matching expectations removed, available upon request. Experiment log 334T-01 through 334T-48. Date 2010. Test subject: a selection of small prey animals ranging from mice to medium-sized rabbits. Results: subject stalked each one for varying lengths of time, apparently biding its time before pouncing. Each test subject sublimated into plasma, which was absorbed by SCP-3034 through the mouth as it went through the motions of eating. Experiment log 334F-01. Date 2010. Test subject: a normal red fox, male. Results: test subject displayed high levels of apprehension with loud barking and growling. SCP-3034 appeared disinterested. Test halted after minutes of no appreciable change in either's reaction. Experiment log 334F-02. Date 2010. Test subject: a normal red fox, female. Results: identical to 334F-01. Experiment log 334F-03. Date: 2010. Test subject: a red fox, female, in heat. Results: SCP-334 appeared to sniff the air for a moment, while test subject displayed reactions similar to previous 2 tests, then... Researcher note: that was something I hope to never see again. Experiment log 334-01. Date: 2010. Test subject: SCP-334. Note: for this test, SCP-334's cell was flooded with ionized gas identical to its own. Results: SCP-334 appeared curious at first, then agitated as the pressure of ionized gas in the chamber started to rise. After 5 minutes, subject began glowing brightly and containment was re-established, with SCP-334 apparently exhausted. Experiment log 334-02. Date: 2010. Test subject: SCP-334. Note: for this test, SCP-334 was subjected to a focused magnetic blade to attempt to sever a section of its mass. Results: Note: further experimentation with force-feeding or cutting SCP-334 is forbidden unless performed in a heavily shielded remote site. Experiment log 334-D-01. Date: 2010. Test subject: D13487/334, 3 live mice in standard cage. Note: D-Class was instructed to enter containment and feed SCP-334 after 1 day of withholding food from the subject. Results: SCP-334 immediately leapt at the cage, incinerating it and the contents, as well as much of D13847/334's arm and torso. D13847/334 died instantly, while SCP-334 ignored the body, focusing on the converted mice in cage. Researcher note: well, it certainly thinks it's a fox, and doesn't seem to notice, or care, that it can kill people just by getting too close. Experiment log 334E-01 through 334E- Date: 2010. Test subject: SCP-334. Note: this test was performed to determine SCP-334's environmental needs, if any. Results: containment made airtight and internal atmosphere removed. Subject showed no change from normal behavior patterns. Containment was then heated to an excess of 500 degrees Celsius. Subject showed no change from normal behavior patterns. Containment was then cooled to approximately -100 degrees Celsius. Once again, subject showed no change from normal behavior patterns. Containment was slowly pumped full of atmospheric gases in various combinations to a maximum pressure of 3 atmospheres. Subject became more energetic, consistent with behavior after being fed, and did not require supplemental feeding until the next day. Researcher note: it can survive in a vacuum or on the surface of Venus and doesn't need any supplemental food in high pressure. This and other data suggests
Thank you for your participation in Project 82, transmitting psioanalytic data to Dr.